fucking St. Patrick, man. These St. Patrick stories just go on and on and on. Here's an occasion where a band of men, they said, hated St. Patrick and falsely accused him and his companions of stealing, and then sentenced them to death. And then Patrick resurrected a man from a nearby tomb, commanded him to witness the trial in the case, and then asked the resurrected man what he thought. Eventually, the resurrected man said, hey, he was innocent. Somehow the resurrected man knew where the stolen goods were, and then everybody was happy, and everybody converted to St. Patrick's religion, and that seems to be how all his stories always end. You know, they hate him, they want him dead, and then all of a sudden everybody's Christian, and everybody loves one another, and then they're all saints. So, you know, even the evil man Malkuldus. So we have lots more fun with this Saint fucking Patrick guy, okay? So here's where he resurrects a horse. He goes and kills those two princesses, right? Just decapitates those Fidelma and Ethne, chops their heads off, slits their throats, doesn't give a fuck about anybody's life. Killing druids left and right, 15,000 bodies, genocidal maniac, kills all these native Irish people, and yet he's the patron saint. He wasn't even Catholic, he was anti-Catholic Church. Anyways, there's this illustrious man named Darius, and Darius gave unto St. Patrick at his request a dwelling place together with a small field, whether he might betake himself with the fellowship of his holy brethren. So Darius gives St. Patrick a place to stay, a dwelling place, and it's in Ardmachia, in modern time called the Feast of Miracles. So they called it the Feast of Miracles. The chapter is CLXI. I've seen several. It's the same chapter, the heading, CLXI, Roman numerals. A certain man is healed and a horse revived in a place which is called Feart. F-E-A-R-T. So if it's pronounced like heart is pronounced, then it would be fart. So in a place called Fart, he resurrected a horse. Darius gives him a place to stay. He in Ardmachia, in modern time called the Feast of Miracles. After a season, the charioteer of Darius sent his horse into this field, and then eventually they found the horse dead. So the same horse St. Patrick was in, so when he heard that his horse was dead, he was like, fuck St. Patrick, that motherfucker needs to be hung up with a rope. He needs to be slain because he killed my horse, therefore he needs to die. That's what Darius says. He pushes for St. Patrick to die. St. Patrick's like, hey, guy, no need to worry. And so he sprinkled people with water. He took some water, sprinkled holy water on the horse, and the horse came back and it arose or something, and it was alive. And then Darius wasn't sick, so I guess Darius was sick for a second, and that's the whole story. That's essentially the whole thing there. Patrick also once raised to life a dead horse belonging to the charioteer of Darius. So the horse belonged to the charioteer. I thought it was Darius's. I don't know. Something. And who the fuck is Darius? Why do I even give a shit about Darius? And he's actually resurrected 36, 33 people in his life as Patrick. I mean, he's resurrecting bodies, giving sight to the blind. He's almost like he's a bigger magician than Jesus. I mean, when it comes to St. Patrick, I think of, like, how do we know that Jesus existed? Think about Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh is the first hero, the hero of heroes. You can't get Gilgamesh, and you probably don't even know. Then with Gilgamesh, there's like there's a Noah story, and Adam and Eve, serpent. There's like a bunch of similarities. So, you know, the Patrick, he's got more. His charioteer realized the horses had wandered away, and he wept. So Patrick's charioteer was sad that these horses had, you know, just walked away from him, and he was like, what am I supposed to do? And Patrick rolled up his sleeve, he drew out his hand, and he raised his 5 fingers into the air, so they shone forth over the land with light. So just 5 fingers. He just, with one hand, 5 fingers, light comes out of his hand, and then the charioteer found his lost horses. So he can turn his hand into another fun story of St. Patrick. So St. Patrick is eating at the inn, or he's hanging out at the inn and with the charioteer, so I guess he's being escorted everywhere by the charioteer, and the charioteer's like, hey, there was a cross in the grave. You didn't see the cross on the side of the road? No, Patrick's like, oh, no, I didn't. Let's go check it out. So they go find this random cross in the middle of the ground, and he digs him up. He digs up the dead body and resurrects the dead body, and then starts talking with the dead body. It turns out that he was a pagan when he was alive, and yet now I am buried here as a Christian in another province. There was a woman whose son died in these parts. The area was quite foreign to her. She did not know where he had been buried. Afterward, while mourning her sad loss, she traveled here to find his grave. She was so upset she thought my grave was that of her son, so she set up that cross beside me by mistake. And then eventually becomes Christian. He resurrects. That's absolutely, that's in fucking insane. That's in fucking insane. So St. Patrick is able to resurrect pagans from the dead and convert them to Christianity after they had already been dead. He's able to resurrect dead horses. He's able to turn his hand into light and shine a light to get some horses that had ran off. He's resurrected like 33, different dead people. He's resurrecting body after body, more than Jesus ever resurrected. He's given sight to the blind, making the lame and leopard, not, getting the diseases out of them. It's incredible. It's amazing. That's what St. Patrick is doing. St. Patrick he's a fucking magician. I mean, I don't know what to make of this, to be honest with you. These stories are insane. It's bullshit, to add to the legend. I mean, it's weird how the legend lives bigger than the King Alphemus promised that his nobles, and the whole city would be baptized into the Christian faith if his 2 children were brought back to life. And Patrick, seeing the opportunity for a great gain of souls, raised them both back to life. Then he does it too in the country of Niel. A King Echu allowed St. Patrick to receive his beloved daughter Sinia as a nun, though he bewailed the fact that his royal line would thereby end without issue. The king exacted a promise from Patrick not to insist that he be baptized, yet to promise him the heavenly kingdom. Patrick agreed, left the matter in the hands of God, King Echu. So he does something with King Echu. He finds that he's dead, he revives him, he instructs him, and he baptizes him. So again, he rises this king up from the dead, and he baptizes him, so which is good. Now he can go to heaven. After St. Patrick revived King Echu, it says here that the king could not enter in because he was unbaptized, and he was like, well, do you want the empty smoke of life or celestial joys? And he received the Eucharist, and then he fell asleep in the Lord, that's the same shit that happened to Fidelma and Ethne, the 2 Irish princesses of the King of Tara, the Leghair, right? The King Leghair's daughters. They took the Eucharist, and then they died like right afterwards, and mysteriously. So I mean, how do you just die right afterwards? You're poisoned, you're smothered, you're killed, you're murdered, and he could resurrect people back from the dead. So how are these people who are being baptized killed? There's some speculation. I can't make anything out of St. Patrick, actually. I can't make any fucking thing out of the whole story. None of it makes any sense to me whatsoever. And so there's the myth that Patrick got all the snakes out of Ireland, but those actual snakes were the Druids. And so at the very most, it's genocide, and at the very least, it's cultural genocide. So it stripped the culture away. And then also the tales are exaggerated about how much that St. Patrick Christianized Ireland. Supposedly he just started it or didn't really do a good job. And then I also heard, too, a big thing that the St. Patrick and the Irish monasteries did was that they saved a lot of Greek and Roman works. So during the Dark Ages, they survived the Dark Ages, and so people were allowed to see what happened, And so there are no snakes in Ireland. How come there's no snakes in Ireland? Because, St. Patrick drove them out. But some scientists said it was the Ice Age. It happened 8,500 years ago. There have never been any snakes, so you couldn't kick out, the Ice Age had already performed the reptilian eviction, or maybe the slaughter. You know, did he kill them all, or did he banish them into the river? Or were they druids, and it was genocide? So, and actually, Halley's Comet, it was 500s, Halley's Comet, a comet in the sky, and dust and clouds, I don't know. I'm sure comets and eclipses could be used by magicians to act like they did something. Uh-oh, it's an eclipse, so that means something bad's going to happen. Bullshit, right? It's religious. So Druids, there isn't actually much written about the Druids either. I heard that the Druids were black. I've heard one, report that they're black, even with Patrick. But Druid, the Caesar had wrote something about the Druids, Julius Caesar, and everybody like Tacitus, Cicero, Pliny the Elder, Tiberius, Claudius, like they all said a little bit here and there. But Julius Caesar gave the best known account, and even his account is scant. He said that they did human sacrifices, and that's where the wicker man is in a wicker basket. They would sacrifice criminals, ritual sacrifices. And but he also sort of said that they're like the intellectuals. There's basically two big classes, the nobles and the druids in ancient Ireland. So the nobles and the druids, and they were like the intellectual. A pretty good connection with the festival Ostara or Osara. It's kind of like Easter. It's sort of pronounced, it's Ostara, Ostara, and it's Celtic, it's pagan, and so it'd be in the same area, and it's a celebration of spring, or it could have been like a drunken festival to celebrate the genocide, which is what Thanksgiving is. Thanksgiving Day, maybe it wasn't a drunken festival, but it was a day of thanks to the Christian God that they slaughtered 700 old men, women, and children at the massacre of Mystic River. That's Thanksgiving. Christopher Columbus is genocide. St. Patrick is a genocide, a maniac. It's either all myth and legend and bullshit. Maybe there was some fucking guy, maybe not, or he killed a lot of people. So banishing all the snakes, it doesn't make any sense. How does one person do that? He was basically confined to the north. It sounds like a bullshit legend. It sounds like a Paul Bunyan type of story. And sometimes it's weird. A good story can fucking last like centuries. It could be a total lie, but like George Washington and the cherry tree, I'm pretty sure that's been debunked. There's founding myths. Patrick Henry never said, "Give me liberty and give me death." That was like attributed to him later on, which makes more sense when you find out that he's a, land speculating, slave owning, Native American genocide, and he's basically a piece of shit, a fucking aristocrat. So Druids, I don't know about the Druids. They were the original Irish. St. Patrick, who knows if it's really him or what the fuck the story is? We don't know. Christ beside me, Christ before me, Christ behind me, Christ within me, Christ beneath me, Christ above me, St. Patrick. Before I was humiliated, I was like a stone that lies in deep mud, and placed me on the top of the wall. If I be worthy, I live for my God to teach the heathen, even though they may despise me. That which I have set out in Latin is not my words, but the words of God and of apostles and prophets who, of course, have never lied. He who believes shall be saved, but he who does not believe shall be damned. God has spoken. So, Druids, I don't know what to say about Druids. Let's just go to archaeology. Individual Druids are unlikely to be identified archaeologically, so that's kind of a dead end there. The Lord opened the understanding of my unbelieving heart so that I should recall my sins. I am Patrick, a sinner, most uncultivated and least of all the faithful, and despised in the eyes of many. He is despised by the eyes of many. And so if you want to just take a look at what the holidays doesn't make any sense. The Catholic Church has co-opted so many of them. Holy days, holidays, that's where the name holidays comes from, holy days. And if you look at throughout the days of the week, I heard Thursday is Thor's Day. Thor, the whatever, the Scandinavian god. But you have the moon day, Monday, moon day. You have Saturday, the worship of Saturn, Saturnalia, Christmas, Saturday. Sunday, the worship of the sun. So, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, they're more complicated, but they all have, the roots. Worship the sun, worship the moon, worship the Saturn, the planet Saturn, and Thor, that's, and then Saint Patrick, Saint Valentine, Saint this, Saint that. Everybody's a fucking saint. And the miracles, they bring people back to life. What the fuck? And then I'll have to, look.
Really regret in the morning.
This is about Saint Patrick. And you need to understand how he's the fucking devil.
Yeah?
He's the fucking devil. The devil.
All right, let's go.
Don't you understand? Don't you understand? He's the fucking devil. He's the fucking devil.
Oh, wow. Really?
He is the fucking devil, man.
Absolutely.
He's the fucking devil.
You're okay with that being on your body for...
He's the devil. He's the devil. You cannot get away from this.
How's yours down there?
He's the fucking devil.
Tickles a little.
Okay?
What do you think of this turn, man?
Man, this St. Patrick motherfucker, this St. Patrick motherfucker is a fucking devil. He's a fucking devil.
Check this out, man.
And I ain't gonna believe in no motherfucking St. Patrick. And you ain't gonna make me fucking worship that motherfucker.
Really?
Everybody dancing for St. Patrick. Fuck St. Patrick.